Hollywood in 2024 was a roller coaster. Some movies smashed records and became global hits, but others didn't even come close. These flops were some of the most expensive mistakes in movie history, leaving studios scrambling to explain their losses. Stick around because we will go from bad to worse in just a few minutes.
One filmmaker has always been ahead of.
Go.
Now, nothing can prepare you for.
Imagine today's society.
Number 10. Megalopolis, the year's biggest disaster. Francis Ford Coppola poured decades of passion and over $100 million of his own money into Megalopolis. The sci-fi epic was supposed to be his crowning achievement, but instead it became one of the biggest flops of the year. The film faced production delays, creative disagreements, and massive cost overruns. When it finally hit theaters, reviews were mixed and audiences didn't turn up. It earned just $45 million, making it the biggest box office bomb of 2024. Even a legendary director like Coppola isn't immune to Hollywood's harsh realities. Number 9. Argylle, a spy thriller that stumbled. Argylle promised to be a sleek, action-packed spy movie with stars like Henry Cavill and Dua Lipa leading the cast. But the film's convoluted plot and uneven pacing made it hard to follow. To make matters worse, reshoots pushed the budget to $100 million. The movie earned only $50 million, leaving fans and critics underwhelmed. Despite its star power, Argylle ended up being one of the year's most disappointing releases.
Well, destiny awaits.
You'd better take any help you can get. A world in the universe.
Number 8. Borderlands, a video game. Video game movies have always been hit or miss, and Borderlands was another miss. The popular game has a massive fan base, so hopes were high for the movie adaptation. But fans were disappointed by how far the film strayed from the game's story and tone. Critics called it messy and unfocused. With a $90 million budget, it earned only $45 million, making it another reminder that adapting video games to film isn't easy.
Again, you're blowing up.
Number 7. Fly Me to the Moon, a comedy that didn't take off. Romantic comedies have struggled at the box office in recent years, and Fly Me to the Moon is a perfect example of why. This space-themed rom-com starred some of Hollywood's biggest names, but critics said it was neither funny nor romantic. Audiences didn't show up, and the movie earned just $25 million against a $60 million budget. Even with a unique concept, the film failed to deliver on its promise, landing it on this list of 2024's biggest flops.
I could spend the rest of my life here.
Number 6. Here, Too Ambitious for Its Own Good. Robert Zemeckis has directed some of Hollywood's most iconic movies, from Back to the Future to Forrest Gump. But his 2024 release, Here, was a completely different kind of film. The movie took place in a single location over hundreds of years, showing how the space changed and connected people across time. While the idea was ambitious, it didn't translate well on screen. Critics found it confusing, and mainstream audiences just didn't connect with it. With a $75 million budget, the movie made only $30 million, proving that sometimes ambition isn't enough to win over audiences.
What's the plan?
To neutralize the German U-boats in the North Atlantic.
They're all unauthorized missions.
Number 5. The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, a missed opportunity. Guy Ritchie is known for stylish action movies like Sherlock Holmes and Snatch. So, when he announced The Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, a World War II spy thriller, expectations were high. But despite its star-studded cast and intriguing premise, the movie fell flat. Critics called it predictable and uninspired, and audiences seemed to agree. With a $75 million budget, it earned only $40 million, making it another costly disappointment. Even Ritchie's signature style wasn't enough to make this movie memorable.
What's the first thing you liked about me?
You feel like my buzz.
Number 4. The Crow. Nostalgia gone wrong. Fans of the original The Crow were excited when news of a reboot broke. The 1994 cult classic has a loyal fan base, and many hoped the new version would honor the original while introducing it to a new generation. Unfortunately, the reboot fell far short of expectations. With a $50 million budget, it earned just $24 million. Critics said it lacked the emotional depth and edge of the original, while fans felt it was unnecessary and lifeless. This flop is a reminder that not every classic movie needs a remake, especially if it doesn't bring anything new to the table.
There's no army of this earth.
All I'm trying to do is get as many of us as I can, as far as I can.
Number 3, Horizon. An American Saga, too much, too soon. Kevin Costner is no stranger to epic storytelling. His movies like Dances with Wolves have won Oscars and stood the test of time. But Horizon, an American Saga, Chapter 1 didn't live up to its potential. The movie aimed to kick off a 4-part Civil War-era saga, exploring the struggles of people trying to survive during one of America's most chaotic times, but at over 3 hours long, it was a lot to ask from audiences, especially for an introduction to a series. With a $50 million budget, the film brought in just $38.2 million. Critics praised Costner's direction and performances, but the slow pacing and length turned off viewers. Without a strong start, the future of the planned saga is now uncertain.
Get your stuff. Let's go.
Come on!
Number 2, Madame Webb, a superhero misstep. Superhero movies usually do well at the box office, but Madame Webb was an exception. This Spider-Man spin-off introduced Cassie Webb, played by Dakota Johnson, as a mysterious figure protecting young women from an unknown danger. On paper, it sounded promising, but the execution, not so much. Critics called the movie clunky and boring, and fans were quick to label it one of the worst superhero films in recent memory. While it grossed $110.5 million, its budget was nearly the same, meaning it barely broke even. What's worse, Madame Web failed to breathe life into Sony's Spider-Man spin-off universe, which already has a shaky reputation. Ironically, the movie found some success on Netflix, where people watched it out of curiosity, or to see how bad it really was.
Well, he's not.
Number 1, Joker 2, a musical misstep. When the first Joker came out in 2019, it was a cultural phenomenon. Joaquin Phoenix's performance earned him an Oscar, and the movie made over $1 billion. Fans loved its dark psychological tone, so naturally, expectations for Folie à Deux were sky high. But instead of sticking to what worked, the sequel took a huge gamble. It turned into a musical. Yes, a musical. While Lady Gaga's portrayal of Harley Quinn added star power, the movie's tonal shift confused and alienated fans. Critics were divided, some called it bold, while others said it was trying too hard to be different. With a $200 million budget, the movie needed to make a lot of money to be considered a success. Instead, it fell flat, earning far less than its predecessor. It grossed $206 million globally against a $200 million budget. Factoring in advertising, the film will likely be a $150 million loss for Warner Bros., which was a massive shock following the first movie's $1 billion haul. Sometimes taking risks pays off, but this time it didn't. And that wraps up the 10 biggest box office disasters of 2024. From risky creative decisions to overblown budgets, these movies show that even Hollywood's best can fail. What do you think? Which flop surprised you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe for more deep dives into the world of movies and TV.